Okay, so,
Oh, they do?
The little one, I'm not signing on
let's
347.
call the, work session, into order at, 6 o'clock.
Series,
6:03.
whatever it is.
Oh, zero?
No, the other one.
For the record, Dee is not able to make the meeting, so she left the agenda for us. So we will plunge in. Is Joe Poquott coming tonight?
Supposed to be here, yes.
Should we wait, or I guess we can do this for the work
Yeah.
session, right? Okay. All right, so I added two more to the agenda.
Okay.
So, that's surprising to issues. All right, so the first one is update regarding the road safety concerns for residents' request from Facebook. Is that regarding the painting on the,
Well, there's that. I mean, I was gonna bring that up anyway.
Me too.
But, I've already spoken to them. They, honestly, they had told me before I authorized it that it was getting too cold and we were in that window. And then we got that video, the speeding video, where everybody was freaked because of those cars.
yeah.
So I told the girl, I said, you know, I kinda wanna do it now. And she said we could try it, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't, we'll come back. So they're coming back in the spring to redo it.
But it's still, you still see it. I mean,
It's
Not for
not.
long.
It's
no,
not.
I know, but I think it's gonna make a difference.
I don't think so the way it is now.
No, but I mean, I think,
Later on, when
I
they
think it's gonna
redo
make a
it.
difference.
Is there any way we can ask them to get the upgraded reflective paint
So,
that go for higher
so
end
I did talk
finish?
to her about it, cause Scott Dalton put something on, Facebook,
Right.
he put some links. So I went over it with her, so, a couple of things, she said that the paint that they used is the New York Department of Transportation, same paint. She said if you do that, that's like a thermal application, there's two different ways, she says it's significantly more.
I'd love to know.
She's gonna
Yeah.
get us prices, she's gonna get us prices to do the thermal application. But she also told me to go take a ride a couple of different places that have just regular Department of Transportation, one of them
Okay.
Belterre, and I looked. I think she's pretty convinced that it was the weather, and she kinda knew it when they, I mean, not that she knew it, but she said, you know, if we get a couple of really good days, great, and if we don't, we may be coming back. So they're coming back
Yeah, that's good.
for free?
for free.
Unless we were to upgrade it. I just feel like, despite maybe what some may think, I in my drivings through the places that were painted, I do see people adhering to the line in
Yeah.
the stop in the road. It is, at least
agree.
anecdotally, I think there's
I agree.
maybe something to it. And if that line's brighter and reflective,
I agree.
it will be, I think, even more
Well,
more
maybe we
effective.
just do those as the reflective. and
Right,
let
like
the-
those main
find
ones.
some kind of
Right,
balance.
right,
But,
that's some- maybe
you know,
thinking.
she said that those are typically, more heavy traffic areas.
Right.
Like, you know, like they have them down in Port Jeff Village.
Right.
But I told her we're probably gonna wanna get a quote.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But worst case scenario, they're gonna come back and
Perfect.
stripe and it'll be fine, but I told her, I mean, she's like, we could try to wait for a sunny day, I was like, you know, I don't wanna do this
No,
3
let's
times.
do best conditions, yeah.
Yeah, so we're just gonna wait.
Okay.
But I, as soon as that went down, looking at it, I said, this does not seem thick enough to last.
I don't
It didn't
think-
have any, you know how these thermal application things, they have a thickness to it. So it takes a long time for them to.
Yeah, but you know what, I drove through Belterre and they don't have the thermal applications and they look pretty good.
And they look good.
Yeah, I actually, yeah, I'll show
It
you.
just seems to me this was unusually quick.
I
We didn't
think
have
it's gonna be
plowing or
great,
anything
though.
like that.
It was,
Just when they did
I
it, they
think-
did it when it was cold, it might have been wet, it didn't adhere the best.
All right.
it didn't, but here, wait, hold on, let me, cause I actually took a look and I'll show you, cause I have it right here. I mean, this is the road that they did in Belterre, look, this is without the thermal.
Yeah, that's a
And
nice line.
this is, they did this months ago.
Really? That
Yeah.
looks a lot brighter and.
Well,
I don't
you
know.
know what, then I went up to the parking lot, I went up to, I mean, not that I was driving around, I sound like a lunatic, I'm like looking at roads, but I went up to, after I looked at this, then I had to go pick up a prescription at,
Get the point.
Walgreens, and I was looking at theirs, and they're not thermal either.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be thermal, I mean, it's good to know that in Belterre they have that. We get a price on the thermal, we see if it's an option,
I agree.
and then we go with what
Yeah.
we think is best.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The rate we're going
In the
is
spring anyway, we're not doing it now, so.
No,
It's never gonna snow yet.
We don't lose anything in the process,
No.
because it wasn't like they were there anyway.
Yeah.
You know, we're just,
I think it's gonna make a big difference
I do.
to people's stuff.
So, my thinking is,
I
can
noticed it.
you post, now that we've discussed it, and we know that they're gonna come back to
Do you want me to
post
put it up on the
Just to
website?
say that, you know, we recognize that it's more about.
I did answer the post yesterday.
Oh.
I answered the post and said that
Oh,
they're
okay,
coming
I
back in the
hadn't
spring.
seen that.
But if you want me to do something a little more official,
No, I mean, if
write
it's
up
on
the-
there, I mean, we're on the video here, people can find out if they want to, but
I'll
I didn't
put
know
it-
you already did it.
Yeah,
You
but
already
I'll
did
put it up on the website too. I'll put it up on the website homepage that we're gonna be redoing it because of the weather and it
Mhm.
faded too fast.
At no cost.
At no cost,
Right, for-
okay, no cost,
Right.
free.
with like a really excited emoji.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do like an emoji star that just says free?
All right, item 2, update residents concerning the flooding on 25A, is that the pond?
Yep, so, Dee and I met last week with, the Department of Transportation and, Steve Engelbright. We had a whole,
Ooh.
and, we had photos, we had drone shots. They were in agreement that this is a concern that has to be reevaluated, and they're sending the engineers to come look at it. Engelbright, was in full support that something be done. So right now, they said that something's gotta get done. They're sending the engineers to do an assessment, see what's happening. I mean, there's certain, the pond is historic. It's part of the harbor, it's part of the properties behind it. It's more than just that little pond. There's a whole history behind it, which he illuminated the room to. So there's nothing, you can't get rid of the pond, it's just impossible. But there's other ways to mitigate the problem and help the residents. And so the engineers are gonna come, they're gonna reevaluate it, and we're gonna have a second meeting once they do that, so.
Awesome.
Yeah, Joe, you said that there once was a drain that went under 25A from that.
I believe there is still a drain on the 25A, it's probably all blocked.
It's blocked because it's
But all the way
clay.
up at the, east end of it, on the street side. You can't get back in there now, but if you went into the back, you'd probably be able to see the drain all the way up on the top end by,
Well, my point in bringing it up is that at some point, somebody said we can drain.
But it didn't work.
Oh, all right.
that's
and what
also
they-
springs.
And what they did with pulling the vegetation, trying to cut it back and plant, it actually made it worse. It spread. But they were pretty cool. Like everyone was like, okay, we gotta do something here. Very enthusiastic. So hopefully the engineers will come and we'll find a solution.
Good. I'm sure that Engelbright's presence.
He was right behind us. It was very nice. He
Good.
was very helpful.
Okay, update on snow removal, I believe we have a vendor now.
Yeah, we were on the call, I was on the call, with the vendor, and they've got all their ducks in a row. We've got a chain of conversation, so that when even this threat the other day, you know, village clerks are in contact with the vendor and, setting up schedules for getting the trucks out and moving, so we are up and running.
Good to go.
So do we have to pass a motion to accept them, a contract, anything?
No.
Do we have a contract?
No.
Well, are we gonna do a contract?
Well, we did the little thing with them, that was it.
Okay, it's a little out of my area, but I
They
think that
signed
we're
off,
gonna
they
have to do
signed off
something.
on our paperwork that we had originally put out there.
So it's on.
How much was the contract for? Do we have a rate?
It was the rate that we started out
Same
with,
rate?
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the rate that we had,
The one that I passed around at the last meeting.
Well, we just, between Joe, Poquott and Steve, we'll figure that one out,
Yeah.
but I think we need to have something, right?
No, we,
The only
I
thing
think
we
they were
ascertained-
working on it.
The only thing we ascertained after our last meeting on this, and we didn't have anybody, was that we did not require to have them meet salary standards,
Right.
because it's a different ball game or something or other. So they don't have to meet the norms for the
Well,
state
again,
salaries.
all the more reason that Joe Poquott and Dee have
He
to say,
said
well,
that.
this
Yeah.
is all on the up and up. And we have-
Yeah, well, I've got an email on that.
Well, how could one firm have to comply with that and the next firm doesn't have to?
Well, I don't know if they had
They
to.
didn't.
No,
Yeah, I don't know if
they
they
didn't
did.
have to, but nobody knew that they didn't
Yeah.
have to. For snow plowing, you don't require, and for road work, you do.
Right, it's not, you don't have to that was what it was. They don't, the snow plowing's got one set of rules and the road work has another.
And we're good with Quickway, right?
We're good with Quickway right now,
Did they get us a calendar yet?
not yet. I
Do we
haven't
have an
seen it.
ETA on the
I
calendar?
have no idea.
We're just happy that they continue to.
Yes, we're
honor
just
their
happy that it
contract.
still show up every Monday, Thursday, and Wednesday.
Okay.
They're very good.
Yeah, no.
I
Yeah,
think
no.
they did too.
I think they're great.
But they just walked away from this other huge
I know.
contract, and so.
Right.
what's it?
Right.
7 districts between Brookhaven and Smithton.
They're much like us. Update on the Poquott teens at your service.
Okay, so the program's out. It's up. I think I announced it on Facebook. I didn't announce it
I
on
saw that.
Instagram
Yeah.
yet.
Well, we should-
I gotta put it on Instagram, which I forgot to do. And it's up on the website, on the, homepage, there's an announcement. But we're probably gonna send out a email. I think Dee had said that she wanted to send out an email, just letting everybody know. So,
Is this just for kids who are Poquott residents, or is it anybody in the school district?
well, ideally, it is teens. I was thinking it would be residents. I mean, I don't know what we did in the past. Does
I
anyone
don't
know
know.
what we did in the past?
don't know.
Did we take community service for outside, kids?
We did. Didn't Dee have a group from the high school that
We had
was
people
it
doing from the jail.
Yeah,
Remember, they were helping us move the
They-
place.
Oh,
Poquott criminals at your service.
So.
yeah,
it's
so
not
we've
just
done
like-
outside people.
If
We
you
also,
make
we also
notifications,
had, we
you
also
said,
had
yeah.
one of the, ARP, well, not the ARP, the groups from one of the.
I thought
schools.
my
Yeah, that's
understanding
what
was
I'm
that this was
One of the-
to help the
Yeah.
Poquott kids
Yeah,
get
Get
their
service
community
credit.
service
I think
for school.
if we spread it out too much, plus it was also kind of trying to tie, I mean, the idea
Helping the
behind
younger
it is to
people.
have like the old people being able to connect with the younger people. So I think if we start to spread it out to all the
Yeah.
elementary and
Mhm.
high schools, then you got kids that are just getting community
wouldn't.
service and aren't part of like our community. I would say, let's see how it goes here and see how it works before we, I mean, apparently, all the, what is it, Chris, sixth graders, do you know when they
Yeah,
start with the
sixth
community
graders
service?
start doing it, and then middle school, they're doing it. They run it all the way through high school.
And they have
so.
to do it for confirmation too.
Yeah, that's where my boys are first hitting it, is through church.
Mm.
So.
My recollection from last year was that we didn't get anybody, and then at the very end, when they all had to get it done, we had all these kids wanting to do it, and we really didn't have a whole lot for them to do. Right, we're gonna clean up downstairs, I don't know what they were doing,
my shredder is always running.
Right.
so that's one thing to address, is to just, maybe if we don't open it up, is to just see whether or not we can get the kids.
Time spaced out a
Yeah,
little
spaced
bit
out,
more.
and they're already spaced out, we just have to get them.
Well,
outside.
their timing spaced
Right,
out.
right.
All right, I'm gonna give that a little thought.
Okay, now this one, I have no idea what it's about. Discuss wild turkeys in the village. for
I-
residents.
that's-
I know what that's about.
I do too.
So, oh my God, I don't know if anybody saw them today. They were across the street on 25A. It was almost like, it was like, no, it was like the birds. Like I actually was making the turn, no, there was like, there was like 20 of them.
It's like they took a plow and went through her grass and all the plantings.
If
Yeah.
you saw the volume that were sitting on the corner, it was a little eerie.
They can be very destructive.
They were, so there's a couple of residents are having trouble even getting to their cars.
Yeah, I saw that, but if you look, I mean, when you look it up, they're protected.
No, they're protected.
And there's things we can recommend that they do.
I did that already.
And I did.
You blow
I
the
read-
whistle, you throw tennis balls,
There's-
not at them.
there's
but you
also-
throw- they're very anxious apparently, the
Yeah.
turkeys.
And repetitive
Throw the
loud
tennis
noise
balls,
bothers
The
them.
whistle
There's,
they don't like.
Motion sprinklers.
But we should encourage, we can either come up with our own little tips sheet for the neighbors or encourage them to visit. The DEC website is thorough
Yes.
in how to handle
Okay,
the
but
wild
here's the
turkeys.
thing, part of the reason that they're where they are is because they're also getting fed.
Fed.
Well, yeah, then the
So-
website says that, avoid
So,
feeding outdoors.
Realistically, what I was thinking would be kind of a good thing is they seem to be up on the upper part of Washington.
That's right.
Mostly, yeah.
So maybe we could send a letter, just a thing saying, you know, we've got a growing population, some, you know, residents are being, honestly, they're being intimidated. You've got, you know, one resident with a little kid who's smaller than the turkeys. Maybe just ask the residents to kind of hang back on feeding them and see if they.
Are they feeding them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
getting
that's-
fed.
They
By those homeowners? Or by like bird feed droppings?
No,
Like, what do
by
you mean?
I think people are feeding them because they like, oh, look, it's a
Oh,
turkey, cute.
that's
So I'm saying.
totally irresponsible.
Well, whether it is or not, maybe they don't realize what's happening. So I
Okay.
think just to ask the
Yes, that's a
residents
good idea. Don't
to
feed them.
not feed them and see if they might look for a different location to
I can
scare
put a
people.
you want me to put a letter together?
Yeah, that would be great.
Big letters on the website.
The other thing we should
Do not
do-
feed the turkeys.
Right, you're not supposed to feed any wild animals, right? But anyway, we should be also reporting this to the DEC. They wanna know where there are wild turkey populations
Okay.
and the numbers, and it's on the website. I mean, it's just a form to fill out, but I think it's only seasonal, so it's not right now. I think it's in the spring and the fall, they want it when you see it. Now, we've only just started seeing these guys, I would say within the last, 6-7 years or so
I
at
didn't
most.
realize it was that low.
Today was crazy.
But
I've only noticed it in the last
that little
2
group
years.
is doing pretty well, so the state wants to know where they are and how they're doing. That would be more benefit to
Great.
let them know how they're doing here in Poquott.
Do you wanna do that too? You want me to contact the DEC?
I can contact them.
It's not,
Well,
it's just a website, it's a formal website.
You've been in touch with it, I don't know if it's the same person, same department within it, but, you know, regarding the light pole and beach. and-
That's different.
It's a different.
That's,
point.
that's different.
This is wildlife.
different,
That's who I called for the Phragmites, the same person, because they already has.
Light pole's not protected.
Right, right.
Okay.
It doesn't,
Just
the
thinking.
the light pole doesn't reproduce.
Okay, I think we should reflect on the fact that if this is our biggest problem, neighborhoods, dealing with gangs and dealing with.
The,
No, I know, but
light
still,
pole
it's-
though, did that one on Washington,
The pack
Joe?
of the turkey.
The one at the
Yeah,
top
there's
of
one at the top of
Washington
Washington.
was out. We had a report that a light pole at the top of Washington and 25A hours. I think it's the last one. First one.
On the
I don't know if
eastern
eastern-
side, the.
Yes, towards the
Yeah,
power
yeah,
plant
I
side.
think I saw that.
That's the only place they have, yeah.
Yeah.
Washington and my street too.
They didn't call you guys? I love that. They posted on Facebook, but they don't call.
No, but you know what, I think somebody answered and said that when there's more than one, or it has to be a couple before they'll
They
send
gotta
somebody.
tell us though.
Okay, right, you need to know, so you didn't know
Call
about it at
Village
all?
Hall.
Right,
Okay,
right. That's my biggest.
I got a one that's
Call
intimate in
the
my
hall.
corner, I should have said
call
something.
the hole,
All right, that's
put
it.
that on the news.
That's a slogan for it.
Call the hole.
Public safety does a survey of streetlights once a month, so
Oh,
we
okay,
just haven't done it for January yet, but we would.
okay.
Okay, the Poquott Tides.
Oh, well, call the hall. So nobody got back to me as far as the subject matter that we discussed.
I sent-
No, you sent me an article, I
Yeah.
got some articles,
Oh.
but nobody said, I don't like this idea. So I'm.
I thought at the meeting here, we were all
Kind of, well, I kinda left.
literally on the same page.
I said, look it over, and if you don't like something, send me an email, so I assume.
No news is good news for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
assuming it's good, we're moving forward, you wrote an article, there's some articles written, and I have to send out,
Be a great place to put an informative article about the wild turkeys.
That's right.
Okay, that's being added,
Okay,
okay?
If we need content, I'm just saying.
No, I'm looking at it. Oh, I need the, Poquott tides. Do you have copies for me that I can look
yeah,
at?
you pulled them today, didn't you? You were pulling them.
No, I was trying to find
Oh,
them.
you
I
did
think
find
they're down in the basement.
Well, I'll come in
There's a
tomorrow.
file for the old Poquott tides,
Okay, I'll come in on Monday
but
and
it's
get them.
in the archives downstairs.
Okay,
All right, so.
so that's moving forward. We've got
Do you
articles.
wanna, do you want to, take the lead, beyond what you're doing, to individually or at one of these meetings say, who's gonna do the articles or whatever? Like, for the turkey, none of us are, it's really not anything that any one of us, that's like your area of interest or something like that. So any one of us could or might defer on writing the article.
So you want me to
Well, I just think it
task
should,
list?
as the articles come up, unless one of us say, I really wanna write an article on something that came up because I'm taking care of it. But.
So, you're saying you want me to take a look
For
at what we
content.
discuss at
Yeah.
the meetings and kind
So
of,
make sure that we have somebody who's gonna be doing it so that we can follow and,
well, I
You know what I mean?
mean, I think we should, I think for the newsletter, it shouldn't be everything that gets discussed at the meetings, because people will fall asleep, it'll be boring. I
it doesn't
think.
have to be.
But I think,
But
You could
however
say
you
like
do
an
it.
article on the turkeys, an article.
Right, like,
that comes
like,
up.
and the reason I'm saying it is because using the turkeys as an example, we could all say, yeah, that's a good idea, and then
Right.
nobody.
yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
I
So-
understand, I'm noting, well, that's what I did, I kinda looked at our last, I kinda did like a 6 months of what was been going on and what's relevant, and kinda, that's what I based the content on originally.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's actually only 3 pages.
Maybe when we get the volunteer program going up, meeting with the kids that do it and asking them what they got out of it, or, you know, some kind of input like that down the road.
We're gonna need topics.
I don't
You know,
think, I think.
after a while, you're really saying,
I don't think
a lot
so.
of topics.
I think we've got topics. I mean, it's not that much, it's 3 pages. It's already pretty
Yeah,
populated.
it's already covered with, like, some of those, is it 3 pages just for stories, or including the photos, including the informative little half section on the back?
The half section on the back, well, I mean, we can make it longer if people like it, but for right
Yeah,
now,
let's just get
it's,
this thing started.
right, exactly. So it's, I'll send out a draft, and if there's other articles I'm needing,
What are you, is it something, is it in like Publisher, or what are you using to create it?
I'm using InDesign, which.
Is that does it convert to Word so we all can view it, or you can't send it over email?
I can send it over email as a PDF.
As a PDF, great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, I could do it as a PDF, but it's not,
Yeah,
you can't go in there and edit it,
Right.
but I figured that's more like my thing to format anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as we can read it.
Okay, so, next item, and, apropos, Joe walking in exactly right now.
I had to file papers in court before I came here.
Not a
tonight.
problem.
Sorry that I was late, but I
We're
couldn't.
fine, because now we're up to item 7.
Here, you wanna come sit down?
Sure.
You missed the turkeys.
Quick, heated discussion
All
on
right.
wild turkey.
All over the place. Thank you.
Local law 105, which is parks, and use of the community dock. Tina and I had exchanged some opinions on, some learning on it.
Saw
and-
that.
And one of the things that I think we could do, I was kind of thinking of how we could change it, and it had to do with when it's closed or open, or whatever. And I'm thinking that the issue is not the calendar, the issue is not the tides, the weather. The issue is whether the floating docks are in. So really, I'm thinking of rewording it to just say, the dock, the Board of Trustees will, some fashion, Board of Trustees will post closings and openings, when the floats are gonna be removed or something like that. The dock is considered closed when the floats are not there, something to that effect.
If you want, I thought the first thing that you wrote was fine, I just thought that you didn't have to specify, I forgot what it was that I honestly, we went back and forth a couple of times, I mean, I'm not trying to beat it to death anyway, I thought what you had, I like the idea of having a date, so that when people look at it, they have an idea of a date, like, April to November
Yeah,
or
weather
whatever.
permitting.
Weather permitting, and then,
You know, I think, obviously, if there's like a hurricane in August and we have to close that dock, I don't think that anyone's gonna be like, what? It's supposed to be open in August, you know, I mean, if it's all kind of weather contingent, I think that's a given from the nature of what it is. So, I don't know, I thought that you having the dates was fine, because you might have to close it when the floats are still in. You might.
There might be a variety of reasons
I
it's
agree.
needed to close, and the board has the
Right.
right to do that.
So I'm not sure whether or not you, because now it sounds like you're kind of okay with what.
I just didn't like the second half, the second.
Trustees may pass restrictions from time to time regarding hours of operation or others.
Yeah, I didn't think we needed to say that, because it's a given in the first sentence that you had.
That's what do you think?
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think we need to note restrictions that we can pass.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if there's a situation that requires a restriction, it's gonna have to happen, and it's gonna be
Regardless, if
probably
it's in
weather
weather.
related, so
Right.
it's probably gonna be more of a
I agree.
safety thing, and that's it.
Okay. Now, one other thing that Joe this afternoon pointed out to me was to change the very first sentence, if I can, I don't know if I have the whole thing written here, regarding mentioning the parking lot, the ramp, the boat ramp,
The dock.
and the dock as being for residents only. And we had that discussion regarding, you know, the public use of docks and the parking is restricted, but not the use of the docks and whatever. My thinking is that's already in our law in the beginning. I checked, I reread it. It's right in the beginning of, and this thing on the dock is an addendum to the existing code. So anything that's in the early part of the code applying to parks, and in fact, it even mentions dock, I guess, in anticipation that we were gonna get the dock built, is for residents only, or residents to that effect. So my thinking is we don't need to add it further for docks unless we feel it's relevant.
Well, the other section has to do with parks, and this is dots, so I would,
Well,
I
let
think
me
what
read,
he's saying is that this is a subsection of
let me read,
parks.
yeah, let me just.
excuse me, the main section has to do with parks, the subsection has to do with,
Right, and that's why I put it in
specifically,
here.
so I think it should be in.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so too.
But it's, let me just see, where the use of the village dock and tennis court, yeah, D, this is before I get to what I add. D, the use of the village dock and tennis court shall be limited to village residents only.
I think
And
that's
use of
it.
the boat ramp, let me see if that says that. It doesn't say that specifically for boat ramps.
Reps are never mentioned anywhere in our code. And
As
we are
used in-
listed on the Suffolk County directory as having a
Right.
ramp,
Wait, under definitions,
public ramp.
which is 105.2. As used in this article, the following terms shall have the meanings indicated. Village parks, all parks, playgrounds, and other recreation areas, including docks, waterfront, boat ramp, and tennis courts, owned by the village of Poquott. So that's right in the beginning, you know.
But you're saying the ramp is public?
No. Is it?
According to Suffolk County, it is.
I don't think that's controlling, I think it's not. No, I don't.
So what's your recommendation? And this is
I think
already,
we should have language that specifies what is limited, what the limitations are.
To the dock specifically,
Yes.
correct. Yeah, I agree with that.
okay.
So I don't think you
So-
can limit the park itself, I don't think you can restrict who goes in the park, but I think you can restrict who uses the parking, the ramp, and definitely the dock, and,
It says the playground,
And the
what about
tennis
the
court.
playground?
Can't restrict. People can
Right, but
walk
I-
in.
I think we've already stated that it's for residents only, even though it's real, we really can't state that. In fact, I mentioned to you, even our signs here in the parking lot say residents only.
parking, I think you can, but not parks.
So if they walk, they
But
can
it's,
go.
Right.
it says,
Use the
it's a sign for
playground.
the park. And it says residents only.
Right, so you can restrict parking for park,
Mhm.
but you cannot restrict the park.
So they'd have to walk down.
So-
They'd
Like
have to
a
walk to
couple-
the
Okay,
park.
so
Yeah.
what it sounds like is that rather than just add this to the part that we're now adding regarding the docks, we should have it all inclusive in the beginning of the chapter,
Okay,
under this. that
and
applies
just
to
add the
homes.
word docks in there, that's,
Yeah, the docks are in there, but I don't think it doesn't say playgrounds.
What's the problem with just keeping it separately, leaving it just with the dock?
It's just redundant. In other words, as we get into the different sections, we don't have a separate section for playground and a separate section for tennis
So
courts.
somebody could drop off a bunch of people here to have a barbecue or something that aren't residents, but as long as they're not parked here, they would be able to.
That's legal, yeah.
yeah.
Have their
Yeah,
barbecue.
but I don't know that it's so terrible to say that it's for village residents only, unless
It is
the
if it's
code
not
would have a
legal.
problem with that.
We would, with all due respect, we wouldn't be enforcing something like,
Right.
the boat ramp, of course, we could enforce that if it was, but to go and check identification for everybody
In
that
the
uses the
park.
dock
Right.
would be,
Right,
Right.
Or the
So-
park for that matter.
yeah.
so.
Well, the park, we're not allowed to, right? The park, anybody can go to.
Okay, so we had this way back when we had this discussion. Do we wanna put in any of our codes that it's for residents only, even though technically that's not true, we can't enforce it?
For what?
For our parks, our
No.
dock.
You can.
You can't, because
Right.
it's,
Not for the
but
park.
it's, we're never gonna enforce it. But we can still, I mean, what's the harm in putting it in there?
If there was a
It's not legal.
complaint about someone using the dock who was not a resident, it was related to something else perhaps, something else they were doing on the dock, creating a disturbance, or maybe, then obviously having that, the law would give us the backing to ask them to leave. If they didn't, then of course, we would have that to go back on and issue a summons, but that's basically what we would do, we would just ask the person to leave, but we wouldn't be IDing people that are
So-
using
You
the
can't
dock.
enforce
I
it.
wouldn't put in there that it's, my recommendation would be that you don't put that on parks or resident owned.
Right.
So then that has to do,
Okay.
Because
then
if
we
you
have
see a
to,
group
if
of
I'm
people
not
in
mistaken,
the
it says
park-
that
It
already.
says it already in here, now I don't
Just
know
have
whether
the
that
park,
changes,
whether they're
Needs to be
residents or not,
adjusted.
as
if
long
we're
as they're
gonna
not
do an
parked.
amendment,
Correct.
We can't control that.
which is to add on this
Unless there's a
document.
disturbance or something else.
Right.
I don't know if the process is still the same, or we have to do a public hearing, whatever, if we're gonna do that, then we can change anything we want in the
Change whatever
chapter.
you want, right, as long as we
To
have,
make it consistent.
yeah.
Right.
And I don't think it's the, as far as docks, I mean, I don't think it really matters if you mention it twice, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay,
Just
well,
mention it
I mean,
twice.
if I'm gonna edit it, like, it doesn't matter to me either, I mean, I just.
Like, if we have the definition village resident here, parking at village parks shall be restricted to village residents.
That's okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it's for village residents, which it is.
What?
We're not saying it's restricted.
But then what do we
No,
say?
use by village residents only, and their guests.
The use
residents
of the
and-
village dock and tennis courts shall be limited to village residents only.
But that's accurate, right? It's
Well,
out,
limited?
Yeah.
Tennis court?
yeah,
I think that's okay.
but not the park. Have we ever had a problem with kids from outside our community coming down here?
No,
Causing
not
a
really.
problem?
I'm just making sure I'm just trying to see where if it says
Yeah.
that the parks are village residents limited.
Is limited an okay word, restricted is not an okay word, is that what we're saying?